Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world. My name is Rose Joshua. Welcome to Family and Finance, where we provide you with free information that can help you with your finances. Today, I'm going to talk about student loans. Okay, student loans with respect to actually case in point, Canada. So I'm going to share my screen and let's jump into it. So, student loans it is. We're going to talk about what is the Canada student loans and who can qualify, how much can you get, where can you study. It's a big topic. So let's see how quickly we can get through that. So, the one-stop shop for all the information you need about the Canada Students Loan is the Students Loan website. I'm actually gonna click on that and do a quick intro. It shows you how to manage your money, how to apply, stages of a student loan, how to repay, and there's a learning hub. So this is a very, very, very helpful resource if you're inquiring about students loan. So in my presentation, we're basically going to summarize a lot of the information in there, but if you need much more detail, you can definitely, I recommend you go to the Canada Students Loan Center and learn more. So the Canada Students Loan Program provides for post-secondary educational support. So if you're looking for like a post-high school program, like a professional program, certificate, diploma, bachelor's, master's, doctorate, and so on. Part-time or full-time, there's definitions as to how many hours you have to do to maintain the status of part-time or full-time. And to qualify, you have to be a Canadian, a permanent resident, landed immigrant, or a Canadian citizen, or somebody called a protected person, which is like a refugee. And the loan is regulated provincially. So even though the national umbrella is there, but each province has a say in how their loans run. So you do, in order to qualify for a specific province, you need to be resident in that province. So it's not for visitors or international students or people with, just work permit. So when you apply for a student's loan, there's depending on your income, your family income, there's the loan portion that you have to repay, and there's a grant portion that you don't have to repay. So depending on your income, you could get a lot of free money. And you're encouraged also to check your province's website for scholarships and there's a lot of free money that's available depending on the criteria that you qualify for. There's also disability grants. You have to prove disability, but definitely check with your province for the free grants and scholarships. So there is annual and lifetime limitations on how much you can get, depending on the program that you have. So business is different from engineering, which is different from medicine. And so there's different amounts, thresholds, and actually limits that you can get. So for example, for pharmacy, annually is 34K, lifetime maximum is 125,000. For medicine, annually is 42,500. Maximum lifetime is 200,000. So depending on your course of study, there's a limit on how much you can get. So again, when you're applying, check for the limits for your course. Now, a word of caution, The fact that you have a limit does not mean you have to take the full amount. You can actually take less than the limit, depending on the number of courses that you have registered for. So where can you study? That's a big question. I've actually got that question from quite a few people who say, oh, my child can only study in Canada. No, as a matter of fact, the Canada Students Loan can cover your child to study in many places in the world, literally anywhere in the world. But of course, depending on the country, there's only certain universities that qualify. So I've shown you this link here, but you can Google Canada list of designated educational institutions. That will show you where your child can study. So I'm going to spend a bit of time on this site just to show you the possibilities. So this is the list of educational institutions that your child can study while covered by the student's loan. So of course there's provincial institutions, but if you look at international, so this is outside Canada, there's thousands, literally thousands of schools that your child can go to, or you can go to, depending on who is getting the loan. So let me see. So the United States is there, of course. There's a whole whack of USA universities, but let's think outside Canada and US, and let's try China, for example. So China has 46 occurrences. So it may not be exactly 46 universities, but there's 46 occurrences of the word China. But so far I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so there's quite a lot of universities that your child can go to in China. So let's try India. India has 49 occurrences, but remember that the word India occurs also in the United States, Indiana. So they may not all be in India, but yeah. But let's see the country of India. Let's see. Excuse me. That's one, Bangalore, Punjab, Coimbatore, Punjab again, Juarinaga. So yeah, there's quite a lot of universities that your child can go to in India. Let me try Africa. Let me try Ghana. Ghana, University of Ghana, that's Legon in Accra, Ghana. You can go there for medicine. That's one occurrence there. Let's try Nigeria. Nigeria, University of Benin, Benin City, and Babcock University in Ogun State, Ilishan Remo in Nigeria. So basically, your child can go to many, many countries for their post-secondary education. These are just, so yeah, go to this website and play around with it. All right, back to my presentation. So repayment period, as long as you are in school, there is no repayment required during studies. But repayment starts 6 months after completion of studies. So let's say you have a 4-year program, repayments will start in year 4.5, so 6 months after graduation. The maximum repayment period is 15 years, including the 6 months. So post the 6 months is 14.5 years, 174 months, okay? Depending on your income post-grad, you may be able to obtain repayment assistance. So again, check with your province. Now, some provinces offer incentives for loan forgiveness, depending again on there's a lot of dependings for this particular topic. But so Saskatchewan, for example, offers remote location loan forgiveness incentives. So let's say a nurse allows themselves to go work in a remote Saskatchewan place, then they can be forgiven up to $4,000 a year, up to $20,000 over 5 years. Again, you want to check how much money are you making there? Are you getting all the hours? Do the math to check whether it's really worth it, and if it's worth it, why not? Okay, so which provinces offer what really? So all the provinces offer something in terms of student loans. So some provinces have an integration where, like Manitoba, is integrated with the federal government. So you would apply to the National Center directly. Some you would apply through the province and then they link you up to the national, like Alberta, and some are self-regulated like Quebec. So check with your province as to where the starting point is. Now, repayment interest rates is all over the map. So for Alberta, for example, we are sitting at about 9%. So it's CIBC plus 2, CIBC posted prime plus 2. Saskatchewan is prime plus 2.5. So each province dictates its own repayment rate. Some of the provinces actually have zero repayment interest. So you're then dealing with the Canada, the national rate, okay? So let's say, for example, you live in Saskatchewan. That's one of the lowest ones right now is 7.2, whether it's variable rate or fixed rate. We're gonna do an example on how this work. All right. So up to now, I've just kind of talked in general about what a student loan is, where do you get it from, and how it's generally administered. So now we're going to actually talk about why you should take it, or what are the advantages of taking a student loan. And from my perspective, if you can, I would say take the student loan. Oh, let me reword that. I actually recommend to take the student loan, even if you have your money in your hand. But we're gonna see why down the road. So, what are the advantages of taking the student loan? One of the biggest advantages I've seen in Canada is the fact that a lot of people don't take the student loan because they say, oh, it's too much money just to get education that you may not use. Yes, I've heard that a lot. But you know what? Education is valuable, is yours, and nobody can take it away from you. Just having that education gives you higher self-esteem. You don't have to explain anything to anybody all the time. You learn how to do critical thinking, problem solving, application of thought. You learn how to think outside the box. You're able to adapt. You're able to interact with, high quality people. And even if you never get a job in the area that you studied, just the process of studying helps you with problem solving techniques, and you learn a lot that you can apply to real life and possibilities, okay? So there's a lot of advantages in getting that education. All right. So now to the question of, I don't want to take a student loan because it's too much money. Again, that really, really puzzles me. I get really puzzled by somebody saying, okay, I don't want to pay a $40,000 student loan, but I'm okay with going to a dealership and get a $40,000 or $50,000 F-150. I still don't get it. I'm just having fun here. But here's the deal. Some people would rather buy a car than get a student loan. And yeah, still don't get it. so that's really where I'm heading. So in order to get a student loan, you need to make adjustment on your other expenses. So don't say, oh, I can't get a student loan because then I have to buy a $500,000 house. No, tone down on the house, tone down on the car, get your education. Please, somebody help, okay? Get your education. So basically what in the world is wrong with getting lasting education that's worth only $40K when we're willing to spend much, much more than that on a car? That still puzzles me. And if I can stay on this page, I'm gonna say that still puzzles me 1,000 times. So that's really what I'm saying is get the education and adjust your expenses. And that's what I just talked about on this slide. Okay, so here's my favorite part of this presentation. And that is the fact that I recommend that you take the loan, even if you have the money in your hand to pay for your education, okay? And it's really from the perspective of how the loan system works in Canada. I'll explain that in just a second. So big tip, take the loan and invest your money. So let's say we have a parent, a very proud parent who wants to pound his hand on his chest and say, yes, I paid for my daughter's bachelor's degree for 4 years, okay? And she didn't have to take a loan. Yes, that's okay. I paid for it. I'm proud dad. Okay. And so that daddy pays, say, $10,000 a month, a year, $10,000 a year cash for 4 years, just to put, little princess through university. That's great. But here's the thing. Even if mom, dad, you have the $10,000 cash, I would still recommend invest your $10,000 a year and have princess or prince, your son or daughter, take the student's loan. I'm going to kind of explain to you numerically what I mean by that. The biggest reason for that is because the loan is repaid over 15 years. That's one. The second biggest reason, actually the key one, is that the loan repayment does not start until after graduation. So there's a period of 4.5 years in which you can take advantage of the compound interest on your cash. And this is a different conversation, but it's the same principle as putting extra down payment on your house. Like anything that would interfere with your cash compounding over time, you really want to do the math carefully before you jump into it. So let's do a demo on this scenario. Let's see now. So I did mention I have permission to use this site for educational purposes only. So let's do that. So let's say you allow your child or you allow yourself to take a 4-year, $40,000 loan. Repayment sounds, looks like it's a mortgage repayment, but it's a loan, right? 40,000 at 10%. So I'm assuming that maximum Alberta interest rate of 9.2, that's the biggest one. Okay, 9.2. So let's assume 10%, $40,000 at the end of graduation, 10%. is repaid over 15 years. So there's your 15 years here. All right. And so bi-weekly, you're looking at $196 bi-weekly for 15 years, okay? $196 bi-weekly. So if you want to do the math, is 196 times 26 bi-weekly payments, 196 times 26 times 15 years. So over the 15 years, your 40,000 loan, you would have paid 76,440. So you paid an extra 36,440. Okay, 36,440 on interest. But what if you had your 10,000? Okay, remember what we're working with 10%. Let's say you had your 10,000 a year, so 10,000 a year here. You invested at 10%. Same rate of return, same penalty interest of repayment of the loan, and it's 10% per annum. So interest is compounded yearly. Your time horizon initially is the 4 years of study. So 4 years of study while your child is in the university, 4 years. So for the first 4 years, your 10,000 times 4 has generated $6,000 of compound interest. So now in the repayment phase of 15 years, when your child has graduated, you now plug in that 46,400 with no more addition, remember, no more expense because the graduation is done. And you're growing it at the same 10%, but this time for 15 years. So the original growth, 46,004 at 10% per annum for 15 years. So that is the time you're repaying the $76,000, right? So in those 15 years, you now have $193,000. Okay, remember that your repayment was 76,000. So if we go back to the 76,440, the difference between the 193,000 of your money and the 76,000 is even after paying off your loan for 15 years, you still have another close to $120,000 cash. Okay, $120,000 cash. Now, somebody would say, well, what if you don't get the 10% interest rate? If we even said you get less, you get 8% on your growth, you're still better off. You're still at 140 something thousand. So this time is not, the difference is not 120K, but the difference is another $70,000 cash. So regardless of which way you look at it, you're making more money by investing your cash upfront than giving it as a seed to the university while your child is going to school. So again, I recommend still take the loan, invest your cash, and leverage the compound interest of those first 4 years, and of course the compound interest of the remaining 15 years, while you pay the $196 bi-weekly, or let's say $400 a month. So the way the loans are structured makes it really easy for you to take your time. The federal government, the Canada is not putting a big pressure on you to pay today. Just take your time, pay it nice and slow, but let your original money, your cash in hand compound, okay? So in conclusion, we talked about what is a student loan, how it works, who offers it, how much can you get, and so on. And my favorite part is basically get educated. Don't say, oh, because you're of the student loan, you're going to deprive yourself because we're spending money in other places. It's proper to spend money in getting proper, as much education as we can. And the government of Canada has made it easy for us to do that with the student loan. So why don't you take it? And so really, to be honest, the more education you have, the better you feel, right? And my favorite part is that of investing any upfront cash you have instead of planting it in school upfront. So you lose money by giving away your cash. You're better off take a student loan or have your child take a student loan. You can still repay the money. You can still pound your hand on your chest and say, yes, I paid for my child's education, but then you end up, making more money by investing your money upfront. Okay, any questions at all? Hit me up at 780-680-1334. And if you have that loose money laying around, bring it and I can help you invest it at 10%. Based, of course, it's not just as simple as 10%. We're going to take a look at a number of factors and get you the best return for your money. Okay. Thank you so much, and share this information with all your friends and encourage them to subscribe and share with others and on and on. Thanks again, and have yourself a beautiful rest of your day. Bye now.